Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. This is Asad Yaqub, and today we have a wonderful student with me who has set new heights in Ielts. His name is Shahroz. Hello, Shahroz.
Hi sir, क्या हाल है आपका?
बिल्कुल ठीक. I'm quite fine. How are you doing?
I'm great as well. Happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Okay, pleasure. So guys, you're going to be surprised. Shahroz has achieved really remarkable bench score in Ielts. He is going to tell us about his bench score, and then I'm going to ask him inside story. How did he come about with this bench score? What sort of struggle is behind this bench score? What did he do, or if there is any secret tip? So he's going to share all these things with us. So Shahroz, first of all, I want you to tell us about your bench score in Ielts.
Okay, so thank you for having me firstly. So as for my IELTS experience, it was really good. Let's talk about my scores firstly. I got an 8.5 in listening. I got a 7.5 in reading, which was really difficult this time. In writing, I got 8, and in speaking, I got 9. And I'm really grateful to Allah, and I'm thankful to sir for providing such valuable and free knowledge on the internet for everyone. So that's the score. And as for the effort, I would say that practice is the key, and I feel that luck favors the prepared. That's the quote that I actually work by actually. So even though I was pretty confident that I would get good marks in listening and speaking and writing, but I would practice every day. What I would recommend to people watching this video right now is practice at least 2 papers a day, and if you can push it to 3, that will be great. Be very critical of yourself as well. Number 2. Number 3, whenever you're giving a test, try not to give the entire test again. So this is what I did. Like for example, in reading, for example, if I'm giving an entire test and I realize that, okay, now I'm not excelling well in true and false, so I wouldn't give the entire test again. I would make sure that I now have good true and false tests, and so I would just practice the true and false. So I think that's completely up to you guys. You need to figure out what's that area of weakness for you and focus all your energy in that point number 3. And I think the last point that I sort of absorbed for taking IELTS was the test taking mentality. So you need to be really calm mentally. You need to look at it as just a test and nothing more. No doubt this is a test that decides a lot of futures for a lot of people, but at the end of the day it's just 2 hours and you're there with the computer or a sheet of paper. So just be very relaxed. You cannot be creative or you cannot focus when you're full of anxiety. So yeah sir, those
okay, alright, that's really awesome. So I would like to go on module by module, and first of all we are going to talk about listening module. As you know, listening is sometimes quite difficult for some students because we are not quite familiar with the variety of accents that they have in IELTS. So by the way, what was your score when you touched IELTS listening first time, the very first test of IELTS listening, and then gradually how did you maintain your momentum to achieve such good bench score in listening?
Okay, great. So my score ideally was I was getting 35 right in my first attempt, 30 to 35 right, and then I realized that I had to start watching English dramas more regularly. And I feel like in this generation we have easy access to Netflix and all the English dramas. I feel the thing that really helped me push from 35 to 40 was listening to a lot of English shows, watching a lot of shows, and just sort of wiring my brain into someone who would communicate with them in their own language. So just one tip would be to please start watching as many shows as you can on a regular basis.
Okay, how did you manage multiple choice questions in IELTS listening? Because for students they are really confusing. So what strategy did you adopt for that?
I was very taken aback, and I was I was confused when those questions came in. But again, I feel like listening is more about your focus rather than the accent that you are trying to understand. So you really need to focus on the facts and not on the accent. So I think that really helped me in that. I was trying to focus on the I was trying to read between the lines. So just focus on the facts, and I think that's going to help.
All right. So on exam day, do you think your test was easy listening test, or it was difficult or moderate?
I feel, and this is something that I tell to all my friends and family, I think that was a very difficult test by my standards.
Even listening?
Listening was extremely difficult because when I was practicing at home, I was getting 40 out of 40 in listening. But on that day, the first 5 questions that are supposed to be easy for you blew me away. And in those 5 questions, I was so confused that I couldn't really understand how will I cope up with the remaining paper. But mentally, I just talked to myself that, listen, this is something that you have to do. Don't let those 5 questions define the rest. But overall, sir, it was a difficult paper.
Okay. All right, let's go on with reading module. So in reading module, what strategy did you adopt during the test? Like you started with first section first, then second, then third section, or is there anything else you did?
So I basically followed exactly how you mentioned in your own videos, which was to focus on every section and be mentally prepared that every section is going to get difficult as you move on. So that's what I did, and as for the last section, the first 2 sections were great till 30 questions, everything was fine, but the last 10 questions were somewhat difficult because, as you've warned us in your videos before, that there might come a section where different types of question can sort of bombard you. So there was one long passage and there were multiple choice from the same passage, there were true and false from the same passage, and then there were fill in the blanks, the sentence completion ones from the same passage. So at that time what I did was I read the entire passage and I answered as many questions as I could. So for example, I was answering true or false, then a sentence completion, then fill in the blanks or something like that, and then, but I wasn't going section by section.
All right. So actually about your IELTS result, the thing that really surprised me, that was your bench score in writing.
Yeah.
Because many students are struggling with their writing and they are getting maximum 6.5. And then at the end they blame examiners, they blame IELTS test system and all that stuff. And mashallah, you got 8 band in writing.
I got 8, yes.
So I mean, what did you do? How did you develop your writing up to 8 band level? And on exam day, how did you write your essay? How did you write task 1 and all that?
Sure. So the first thing that I did on the paper day was I went in the room, and as soon as I got that sheet, I just wrote compound sentences, complex sentences, passive sentences, and all the 5 types of sentences. I just wrote that down as a reminder for myself that this is something that I have to incorporate in my essay.
Very good.
So I wrote those 6 types of essays, and then I wrote that you have to change your vocabulary. And as you pointed out, IELTS people are not looking for fancy vocabulary. They're just trying to understand your range. So for example, if a topic comes about subjects in school, that's the topic that I got, because they wanted us to argue if art subjects should go in a school or technical subjects. So here you shouldn't repeat the word school again and again. That's the vocabulary that they're trying to understand. So if you're using school in your first line, use educational institutes, use tuition centers and words like that. So don't focus on the fancy vocabulary, but try to focus on the range of the vocabulary that you use for the topic that's under the spotlight at the moment.
So when you took your writing test after that, did you have a feeling that you would achieve 8 band in writing?
Honestly, no, because I was very critical of myself and I was constantly just making sure that everything was in the flow. In all honesty, I did my best, but I wasn't expecting an 8 for sure, if I'm being honest.
And I have already made a request to Shahroz that he is going to write 1 essay and 1 task 1 for us, and I will share that with you all guys. Okay, let's talk about speaking. I mean, 9 out of 9. You must have done something, you surprised the examiner and you got, 9 out of 9. So I want you to break your answer into parts.
Sure.
Like in part 1, what sort of questions they asked and how you answered those questions, the length of your answer, the sentences you made, then part 2 and then part 3. So how did you achieve 9 band in speaking?
Sure thing. So to answer question number 1, One tip that I would give you is you need to talk as much as you can. If the examiner is asking you to stop, that's a good sign, because I got like 8 signs that okay, thank you, okay, thank you. She would stop me in the middle. So for example, if the examiner says, so hi Shahroz, do you work or study? So I wouldn't go and say I work right now, or I wouldn't go and say I study right now. This was my answer. So I just said that yes, I work right now, but I miss being a student. Last time I was a student was 4 years ago, and honestly I just miss going to classes. But at the same time, I'm very grateful. I got a great job, I'm earning good money. So yes, to answer your question, I am working right now. So do you see what I did? Like, you have to understand their question, and then you have to sort of make a story around that question and just keep talking. Give as many examples as you can. Tip number 1. Tip number 2, first impressions do count, because you need to understand that at the end of the day, someone who's taking your exam is also a human being. So if you put on a good first impression, it will take you far. It will set a benchmark for you and them and the relationship that you have with that person for that limited time. And number 3, as things get technical later in the test, because then this sort of they back question you in a way. They want to test that what you said was true or not, so they'll make questions out of that. So just stay calm in that place. Just make sure that you are confident with what you're saying, and you shouldn't stop, you shouldn't hesitate, don't lag. If you're not confident about your accent, don't worry, but you should definitely keep talking and make sure that you answer the question first and then create a fancy story around it. Because if you create a fancy story around, the examiner will know that you probably didn't understand the question, so you're just roaming about it. So answer the question first. Yes, I work, but I also miss being a student.
All right, that's awesome. And what was your cue card, by the way? And what did you speak on that cue card?
Yeah, so my cue card was, I don't even remember. No,
Okay.
But yeah, my cue card was something about helping, about someone who helped me achieve something. So who was that person? What did he do for you? And how did it make you feel? So instantly I just, went back in my brain and got a hold of the memory of my first job when I had a senior, and he was very kind to me and he taught me a lot. That's the experience that I talked about. So
what was the length of your answers in speaking part 3? Like, how many sentences did you make to elaborate the point in speaking part 3? Follow-up questions.
Sir, as I said, I wasn't exactly counting the sentences. I just wanted to be as clear as I could be, and I wanted to convince the other person sitting in the room that I can speak, I can hold up a conversation, and you would have to ask me to stop, but I wouldn't stop myself. So I maybe kept 4 to 5 sentences per each answer.
Good, very good. So overall, what sort of suggestions or recommendations would you like to give to my IELTS candidates, IELTS students? What should they do, especially the ones who are struggling and their level is not that good, but they are struggling to achieve good bench score? What is your suggestion for them?
Okay, so my suggestion would start off by saying that you should definitely watch, and this is not a promotion of any sort, but you should definitely watch Sir Asad's video. The reason is because whenever we're applying for IELTS, E2 is that one channel that we go to. But I've learned from E2 as well, but watching Sir Asad's video, I realized that he does not hold back on value. So I was really grateful that I came across his channel. Number 1, please skim through or scan his entire channel, because he's addressed everything. And if you really are serious about your test, I'm sure you'll go through every video, number 1. Number 2, practice is the key. I was comfortable with a lot of sections, but even with writing, even with listening, I would conduct 3 to 4 papers every day. So yeah, you need to have a test taker's mentality. You need to understand that this paper could potentially decide your future. So just be very serious about it, practice, and as I said, luck favors the prepared. So
okay, that's good. But let me tell you, Shahroz is not only excelling in IELTS and English language, he is a wonderful choreographer as well. So now Shahroz, I want you to tell us something about that. And he has a very nice YouTube channel. Just now I subscribed to his channel as well, right? So Shahroz, please tell us about that choreography, how you started and about your channel as well.
Sure thing, sir. Sir, thank you for subscribing first. It means a lot coming from you.
Okay.
And as for the audience, it's just a small dance channel. I'm very passionate about dance, and as a human being, I feel that we weren't born to just work, pay bills and die. That's just my mindset. I feel like we have a lot to contribute in the society, like Sir Asad is and everyone else is. So I just held on to my passion. I will never let go of it. So I just make videos, random dance videos. I choreograph now. And by the way, during Ielts I would work from 9 to 6. Then I would choreograph from 7 to 10:30, and then late at night I would spend studying on Ielts. So I remember there was a dance function exactly 2 days after my Ielts exam, and I was so stressed about it, but the test taker mentality allowed me to do these multiple things at the same time. And sir, yeah, absolutely. As for the YouTube channel, if you guys like the content, please go and subscribe.
Yeah, it's Shahroz A. Please, can you spell that as well?
SHAHROZA.
Exactly. All right, this is really awesome. So actually, Shahroz has set a benchmark for many of you, right? And who knows, next you are going to be here like Shahroz is here today. Absolutely. Tomorrow it can be you telling me, giving your tips and techniques to all the candidates, and this is how this thing is going to go on. So guys, thank you very much. And Shahroz, I'm really grateful to you that upon my request you came here. You covered all the distance and you came here to see me, and I really congratulate you. Mashallah, a bright future is waiting for you. Choreography, wonderful bench score in Ielts. So you have actually proved that whatever you once decide, you achieve that. So I'm grateful to you, and I truly appreciate you, and I wish you good luck with all the things.
Thank you, sir.
Okay guys, that's all. Thank you. I also teach Ielts online. Okay, if you wish to join my online Ielts classes, my WhatsApp number is given. You can contact me for that, and don't forget to join Shahroz A, that is his channel. And I mean, while learning, while doing Ielts, if you feel bored, you can just go to his channel and you can enjoy that as well, and then again come back to Ielts.
Yes.
So all the best. Thank you very much. Take care. Bye bye. Allah Hafiz.